Hello, friends. I'm so glad to address you on my podcast, Better Than Yesterday. I'm Sunil Gera. So, we start with today's subject financial freedom and money mindset. I start from my own experience. I studied in Delhi, and my first job was in Bombay. I used to work from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening every day. In spite of all my efforts, I was not in a position to save. And for 2 years, I worked and I didn't have the money to go on a holiday to my hometown, Delhi. It was a very sad feeling. That's the time I decided that I should save a very small part of my salary, that is just 5%. And I worked for further 1 year. And about 1 year's time, by method of recurring deposit, I was in a position to save 13,000 rupees. And with that money, I could go to Delhi to enjoy my vacation with my family. That was my first win. What financial freedom is? Let's define it. Financial freedom doesn't mean owning a yacht or mansion or retiring for whole life. It means that to live within your means and in a comfortable existence. So you make choices not on the basis of your impulse, however, on the basis of what your income is and how you could have a saving so that you have sufficient money for your insurance, for your health, for a comfortable life, and saving for a break, like going for a holiday to your home or something different. Now, what do people do normally? They live with a feeling that rich people are greedy people, or they have the feeling, which probably they have learned it during their childhood or early days, that there is scarcity. These thoughts sabotage your ability to become rich. Now, let's talk about the first point. A person is rich not because of that he is very self-centered or greedy, but because he has learned some special skills which have got good market. He has been able to set up a business, or he's probably depending not only on one job but some side hustles. So, by saying that rich people are greedy, we are basically sabotaging our own ability to become rich. Second thing, as I had mentioned, that a lot of people, they learn during their childhood or their growing years that there's always a scarcity. But those who try to find ways by being innovative, find out ways how to become rich. They don't depend only on one paycheck or one boss. When one depends only on one check or one boss, then he loses the freedom. And financial freedom means that a person can do something what he really wants to do without having any fear. Suppose you have something in mind, what really stops you from doing it today? There is scarcity for people who have not thought beyond their immediate resources, such as if a person is a farmer, he continues growing the same crops, keeps depending upon whatever is available, the government help or the gods will about rainfall for irrigation or conditions of the weather, or a person who is on a monthly salary doesn't look beyond what is available to him by monthly paycheck. Doesn't think about that he could probably have some side hustle, like he could probably have teach students as a tutor in his spare time. Maybe he could teach five students in a group and charge each student and develop another income, which could be maybe 30% of his salary. So, the important thing is that a person should not depend only on one's pay packet. One should be in a position to find ways to earn more and having two or three or more methods of making money. Financial freedom and money mindset also means that a person doesn't think as only as a consumer. He doesn't think that he has to buy new clothes or he has to buy a new model of motorcycle or he has to keep on spending on birthdays or cinema tickets or restaurant bills. I had this experience in the early days that after tracking my expenditure for 30 days, where I made a note of every bill which I had paid and all the money which I had earned, and I realized that I was spending more on my restaurant bills than on my health insurance. That's the time I realized that I must make a big change. So, in brief, financial freedom and money mindset means that person should think as an investor, not as a consumer. So, person could start maybe small, maybe only 5% of his salary into something It could be in stocks, mutual fund, buying silver, buying gold, buying something which grows in value faster than the money which grows if you invest or put it in fixed deposit in the bank. So, these are certain things one should keep it in mind, and this mindset would help him in making big changes in his life. I would give you another example from my life. Immediately after my marriage, I found that Maharashtra Housing Board in Bombay was completing some flats, and I could book that flat by paying 40% of the cost, and there was a loan of 60% for a period of 15 years. Me and my wife asked some of our relatives to help us in putting the margin money, and fortunately, two of our relatives agreed to pay us enough for the margin money, and we got that money at very low interest rate. With that, we could book the house. We could shift into that house within 1 year time after it was completed. And then in 15 years time, we paid the entire amount. You would be surprised that the flat value during 15 years had grown 50 times, which was a very good investment. There could be many examples which I could state from my own experience. I could say that how many people, well known figures, who have been able to grow their money so fast that they have become multimillionaires and billionaires. So I hope that you enjoyed this first part of my podcast better than yesterday on the subject financial freedom and money mindset. I request you to recommend it to your friends and join me with my next podcast after 1 week. That I thank all of you for giving your valuable time. All the best. Bye.